All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Pressler. I am the current reigning Mrs. Colorado 2019. And I have here someone that we are going to interview who is competing for the Mrs. Colorado America pageant this July in downtown Denver. And Sylvia, I'm so excited to pick your brain and to share with our audience a little bit about you. So first question, tell me your name and tell me where you're representing from.
My name is Sylvia Waller, and I represent Southlands Mall. So it's the Southlands Denver area. So,
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia, for being here today and taking the time out of your day to share a little bit about yourself. So tell me a little bit about you.
well, I am I'm retired, mother of four, and what I do with my spare time is I am a licensed esthetician and a makeup artist. So I do freelance work there, and then my biggest and my uh, most comparable, I would say, is working with the Alzheimer's Association. My dad passed away in 2017 from dementia, and ever since he left, I have been on this mission to work with the Alzheimer's Association to spread the word for caregivers that there is help. You don't have to do it alone, and then just also educating the community on health. Um, of exercise and the connection with the brain and Alzheimer's. So I don't know if you know, but after my dad passed, I found out that African Americans and Hispanics are more likely to get the disease. And so, one, we're a little private. We don't know that there's help or don't seek help, and there is help. So that's kind of my mission, is to get out and talk to people about there is help for you if you're dealing with Alzheimer's or taking care of someone with Alzheimer's. And I know the hardship, the pain, the struggle, being a daddy's girl and having to change roles of having someone who had all the answers and he was my hero to being his protector. And that's a difficult flip to do, because you look at your dad and he's always been that strong person, and then they're so fragile and they become children, and it's a difficult and stressful time. But you also have to figure out how to balance out your health and wellness, because you have to be whole in order to take care of the person. And that's kind of my message is, if you're a caregiver, it is important to take care of yourself. And I think that's when I started my um, reinventing of myself. I started getting out and working out. I entered um, a competition. It was a bodybuilding competition just to get in shape. And it was an experience. I got third, so I made it to the finals, which was, an impressive thing. But it's so funny. My trainer said to me, "Hey, you made the finals, we can go to nationals." And all I wanted to do was eat. So I just wanted a meal. So that I didn't want to continue. It was just something that I wanted to see if I could do. And so my thing now is, now that I am entering a new decade, I turned 60 in February. So I am reinventing myself. And life it doesn't end, when you become a senior citizen, and it's hard to say. Sometimes I think, wow, I'm 60, but I still feel youthful. So I think it's important that you find a way to reinvent yourself and just be the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's the only person you're competing against is yourself, because you can't be anyone else but you. So that's kind of how I live my life.
That is so beautiful. I see you, Sylvia. That is incredible. First of all, I'm so sorry for your loss with your father in what was it, like 3 years ago. But it is so powerful to see that you took that pain and you took that challenge as someone you looked up to, and you turned it into your mission. And that is true power behind the pain. And I want to acknowledge that that is such a beautiful thing, that you're taking this new decade on, you're reinventing yourself, you're being authentic, but you're also pursuing a passion behind something that means a lot to you. So I just want to let you know that is pretty incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me, Sylvia, what motivated you to participate in this pageant?
Well, like I said, being the best version of myself and reinventing myself, I do have a fear of public speaking. And I've modeled before, so being on stage is not a big deal. It's the speaking part. So when I was sitting a couple years ago, just trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life, because my dad, taking care of him was took all my time. My kids were in college, and that was my day. Is my dad. So that's when I decided to get involved in pageants, um, because someone had contacted me on Facebook. And I don't know if you knew this, but I was USOA Mrs. Colorado last year.
Mhm.
And so I got involved because she said, well, I've seen some of the things you're doing on Facebook and just thought, what if you would be interested? And it wasn't something that was I had thought about, being Mrs. Anything. I've seen Miss pageants on TV and, never really thought about it. And then I thought, well, you know, why not? It's something new. And I always say I'm really reinventing myself. So let's give it a shot. And the other thing is it gives me a platform. It gives me uh, a larger microphone, if I can say that, because you have the crown, and you have the title behind you. And a lot of times that opens doors that normally wouldn't open.
Mhm.
So I like that, and I like that challenge, and I love the sisterhood. I've made some lifelong friends, and we still keep in touch, Facebook, phone, and I'm an only child, so I have a lot of sisters now. And
Mhm.
I love being a part of a genuine sisterhood. And
Mhm.
that's how I see it.
That's so beautiful how you just said it. You said it's not about the crown, it's not about the makeup, everything. It's about the sisterhood and using this platform as a voice, especially with this incredible mission that you're sharing with everyone. So that is amazing. And how many years have you competed? Is this your second year competing?
This is my second year. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. And I love how you said it, lifelong friends, and that is something that I try to tell everyone. Like it's just beyond the looks, the dresses, and everything. It's about
It is.
that bondage, and especially if, like you said, like you were an only child, and I'm in the military, and there's only a few women, and it's just a great way where you can just celebrate you, and you
Yeah.
get to have this sisterhood that you inherit.
Yeah.
So from this journey within these last 2 years, what life lesson have you learned along this pageant journey?
I would say breaking the glass ceiling. You have this image of what you think beauty is. And and I think a lot of times we put um, a glass ceiling on ourselves, thinking, "Oh, I could never do that," or "I could never, do this or that." But for me, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is removing that glass ceiling and just being the best person that I can be, and just know that, without being conceited or anything, but I think every person and every woman should believe that they are beautiful. They are beautiful in their own right. They're uniquely made, and embrace your own uniqueness and your own beauty. So I look at it like we're all like little flowers, that are in a garden. And flowers are not all the same, but they're all beautiful. So that's how I see it. And I am, I look at my life as a um, evolving work in process.
Mm.
until the day that I leave this earth. I'm always a revolving work in process, and I embrace my own uniqueness, and I don't try to be um, anyone else because I can't. God made me the way I am, and I embrace the beauty that He instilled in me, and I try to radiate that from the inside out. And a lot of times, the beauty comes from the inside, and it radiates on the outside.
Mm.
So we have to work on our own hate. Sometimes we hate ourselves,
Mhm.
and you have to work on that. Don't ever say I don't like this, I don't like that. And I know, we all do it. I've done it, and still try to keep from doing it, but we're never satisfied, and you just have to look at yourself and um, be comfortable with who you are, and confident in who you are.
Mm. Beautiful. And I know you talked about your father, who's been a huge, huge rock in your life. Is he someone that you truly admire? And can you share us a little about maybe like a story in the past about him?
Oh yeah, my dad was he was my hero. I'm a daddy's girl, so I would follow him as a kid. I can remember um, I'd wake up to the smell of bacon and coffee. My mom was, I always called her the Black June Cleaver because she, was always pristine, and she took care of all of us. She worked part time, but she was home a lot. So um, she just took care of us. And then my dad, I would hear the car keys rattle, and I would wake up, wash my face, get ready, because I knew when those car keys rattled, he was going somewhere and I wanted to be in the car. So I would follow him, and I would go to the barbershop. He would go to the barbershop on Saturday. And it was so funny. I could do that until I started developing. And then it was like, okay, no more barbershop for you, because then, dads and their daughters, and, guys looking at their daughters. So then he became very protective. But the most memorable thing for my dad is he was fun loving. Um, he loved to joke, and he loved to dance. And that was the thing that um, resonates with me and will stay with me forever, because my dad, I don't know if you've ever heard that song by Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father.
Mm. No.
When I heard that song, I immediately started to cry,
Mhm.
because everything he talked about was what we did when I was a kid. He and my mom would dance together, and I would be in between them, and I would be on his feet, dancing with the three of them.
Mhm.
And how I would fall asleep, and, on a couch, and he would pick me up and put me to bed. And, my mom would chastise me, and my dad would, pat me on the back, and, give me that little talk. So he was like my hero, always had the answers to everything. But
Mhm.
I think the most memorable is that he loved to dance. And 3 years before he passed, that was actually the 3 years was before he really got sick and incapacitated, couldn't really walk much. We went to a dance with my princess. It was a dance at church, and it was basically for little girls, because they had a little carriage and everything, and all the little girls wore their tiaras. And so I told my dad this. I knew this would be the last time we danced, because I could see he was getting old. And so we went, and my dad goes, "This is for like little girls." And I said, "Well, I'm still your princess." And the pastor said I was like, I think I was in my 50s. And the pastor said, "You're one of the oldest princesses here." And I said, "Yeah, but I'm still my daddy's princess." And it was so precious. And I got pictures, and I cherish those pictures and that memory, because that was the last dance that I had with my dad. And and I know he's dancing in heaven with my mom.
Mhm. That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I can see how much admiration you have for him and how he's been such a huge role model in your life. And thank you for sharing those stories. like over here, like trying not to tear up because I look up to my father as well. So I know we've got only a few minutes left. I could talk for hours with you. You have such a soothing, grounding voice, and I just love your presence. So if you do get crowned in July, what would your reign look like?
It would, I would still continue to be on the battlefield for the Alzheimer's Association. So I would continue to do the advocacy work and the community educating work. Currently, I am doing community education outreach for within the community. So I would continue that and also go out and a few girls organization, young women organizations, they'll call and ask me to come speak on just self-esteem and just talk a little bit about myself. And I just love encouraging and empowering and uplifting, women of all ages and just talking to them about embracing your own uniqueness and your own beauty and just being comfortable with you. And in this day and age of Instagram and Facebook and um, you go on and you look at all these beautiful photos and you don't realize, well, maybe you do, but a lot of them are photoshopped. So I did a conference with some young ladies that uh, it was interesting on how they felt about themselves. And they talked about, when they're on Facebook and Instagram and they see all these beautiful photos of women and they don't look like that. And and they realize that they're Photoshopped, but at the same time, it still makes them insecure.
Mhm.
And it breaks my heart because um, I just feel like we need to get our young people off of social media so much. I mean, I'm old school, so I love social media. I love what it can do, but it also has a negative spin on it because it creates a lot of insecurity in women. And my reign would continue I'd go out and continue to talk to women about just being comfortable with you and embracing your own uniqueness and not trying to be someone that you're not. And I think education is power. And as women, we need to empower each other and encourage one another. So when you see someone that is struggling, uplift them, tell them, I tell everybody, how beautiful they are because everyone is beautiful and they have a uniqueness about them, and never feel insecure about that. If you see another beautiful woman, tell her, because I found that a lot of times beautiful women don't believe that they're beautiful. And you don't always see what other people see. And it's important that we get out and do that. And I would, my reign would, would entail the Alzheimer's Association, as well as connecting with other women to make sure that they know how beautiful they are and empower them to go out and never be afraid, break that glass ceiling, because we do put that glass ceiling on ourselves. And sometimes it takes a minute to remove it. I mean, I'm 60 and it took me a while to figure that out. I went through my life with that glass ceiling, and if I can help someone else not go through the same process, then my my goal has been met.
Mhm. Beautiful. Well, Sylvia, thank you so much for sharing all your stories, letting us pick your brain and just to hear about your thoughts with competing. And it's so empowering to see someone that doesn't take her age as a challenge, but more of an empowering thing. Like, hey, this is a new decade for me. This is my time to shine, for me to just break through that glass ceiling and to just take that mission that I dedicate to my father and to just help other women see how beautiful they truly are. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for letting us see your world. And I cannot wait for us to see what you bring to the table this July for the upcoming Mrs. Colorado. Yeah. So thank you so much, Sylvia. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.